Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and I'm the founder of Fitness Uncharted, which is my fitness and nutrition coaching company designed to help women build muscle, lose fat, and improve your metabolism so that you can feel healthy and vibrant and confident and have complete food freedom. And today we are talking about your body fat set point. Basically, going to help you understand what is your body fat set point. What does that mean, and how you can train your body for sustained results so you don't regain the weight. Because who here, show a raise of hands, has lost weight and regained the weight, right? And if that's you, you're not alone. That is 95% of people who have dieted have lost their results, whether it was losing weight or body fat or getting a certain body composition and not being able to maintain that. The sad news is that the majority of people who have accomplished something with their fitness or weight loss journey have also lost it. So, and the problem is most diets aren't teaching this. So the system is setting you up to fail completely. The dieting system, diet culture is completely set up for failure. And it's because they're not teaching what we're going to talk about today and understanding your body fat set point. Okay. And what that is, so like just think your body fat set point. You might already be thinking, like, I kind of have an idea what that is because I feel like I have a set point. Like I feel like there's a certain weight that's what my body wants to be, and I can't really go below that weight. If, again, raise your hand if that's you. Like you're like, I can't get below this number. Or, you feel like you can't eat a single bite of extra food or calories. You can't go above this magic number and eat more than, let's say 1,500 calories, or you're going to gain a bunch of weight, right? You feel like your body is set at a certain weight and or, caloric intake that might be really low, or a weight that seems, too high. Or, even for my hard gainers out there, you might be someone who's trying to put on more muscle and, you're like, I have a really hard time just like even changing my body composition. Maybe I don't have a specific weight loss goal, but I have this like body fat set point and I can't see the body recomposition that I want to see. If that's you, listen up. This episode is for you. And, that body fat set point, it suggests that each person's body has a natural weight range. It has like a natural kind of like happy place, even though we were like, well, it ain't my happy place because I wish I was, my happy place is 50 pounds lighter, or my place is looking a lot more toned than I do right now, but your body does have kind of like a natural range or quote unquote set point where it is most comfortable and functions optimally, or it's functioning well. So this is where, especially like as far as the optimally, like the people who are like, I just have that last 10 pounds to lose. Your body does not care about your, aesthetic goals. It does not care that you want abs. It does not care that you want those capped shoulders and toned arms and legs and the perky glutes and seeing the muscle definition and the striations and stuff, right? Your body don't care. Your body's set point is like, let's say Megan, me, right? Megan's healthy. She don't need to lose another 10 pounds. Like, even though she wants to, and she wants to look a little more shredded, I'm functioning optimally, right? So that's why the closer and closer you get, especially to goal weight, it just becomes that much harder. And it's again, your body's kind of fighting against that set point. And the range, or your set point range, is influenced by genetics, by your hormones, by metabolism, and even your long term habits. So, we're going to talk about some of those things. And what your body is doing is it's working to maintain this set point through things like your metabolism, AKA your BMR, which stands for basal metabolic rate. That's like your body's set point, your minimum, caloric intake just to survive. That BMR kind of stands for and makes up your metabolism. And your body will actually adjust how many calories you burn at rest. So, even when you become a smaller human because you're losing weight, your BMR goes down, which makes sense, right? You don't need quite as much food to sustain yourself when you're smaller. But even if your metabolism is tanked, I worked with a lot of women who come to me from chronic dieting and their metabolism is in the toilet. We are trying to work at improving how many calories their body burns just at rest, because this is one of those things that will down regulate and adjust down in a negative way, and you will start to burn less calories because your metabolism is in the toilet. So that's one way that your body maintains that quote unquote set point, is lowering your metabolism. Another is your hunger and appetite. So you might notice increased or decreased hunger signals to encourage food intake or limit it. So this is where I've seen both, whether the person is overweight or not, where, this might be, if let's say if you're losing weight, you might find yourself hungrier, right? Which is going to naturally encourage you to eat more food, which is going to bring you back to that set point if you're over consuming calories. And I've even seen my ladies who have a downregulated metabolism, they don't have really any hunger cues and they have decreased hunger signals, which is working against them as far as, like, let's say if they're reverse dieting or they're trying to heal their metabolism, that's not helping them either. So hunger and appetite is another way, and those are hormone related too, that your body works to maintain that set point. And then the last is your energy expenditure, or TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. And this is where your body is going to modify the energy output during activity to conserve or burn calories. So this is where, like, let's say, you're doing your normal activities, but your metabolism is starting to downregulate. Your body is kind of trying to fight against, or keep that set point. You just start to move a little bit less. You start to burn a little bit less. And that's where even like the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or your NEAT, those non-exercise activity things like fidgeting or moving around a little bit more, we naturally start to tend to do less of those things and we may not even notice it. So your energy expenditure goes down from these different avenues, and that's overall decreasing your total, caloric burn, and decreasing, the energy output that you're using during activity, which again is going to bring you further away from your goals and closer to that body's natural set point, right? So, those are ways that your body really works to, like, kind of, it feels like fighting against you, but it's just because your body's really smart, and its role is to keep you alive. It's not to get into elite level shape, right? Or to, get that last 15 pounds off. Like, that's not, it doesn't really care. And also, again, genetics, hormones, things like that are working to keep us around a certain set point or that range. So, when you try to deviate significantly from your set point, whether that's through dieting or overeating, your body may resist by slowing down your metabolism or ramping up hunger and making it super challenging to sustain those changes. But the good news is that through consistent adjustments to your nutrition, to your exercise, your lifestyle, it is possible to retrain your body, quote unquote, retrain, to adopt a new set point over time. That is actually possible. And I'll kind of give you some examples of that too. So this is literally what we work with our clients on, is kind of retraining their metabolism and set point, and that's going to help set them up for long-term success. Also, you guys have to apologize for the lighting in here. We recently moved to Utah. This will be like a few weeks out, so we'll be here for probably a couple months by the time this posts. So maybe I'll have a better light by then, but I'm recording later in the evening, and I put on the overhead light in my office and I was like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. I am not an overhead light person anyway. I don't know about you. My mom passed that down to me. I hate overhead lights. Like, I want the ambiance of like a lamp or something, not an overhead. I just hate that lighting. I feel like I'm in a freaking, like, I don't know, surgery table room. I don't know. Or an office, like a corporate office. And I'm like, this just sucks. So anyway, so I have a little lamp on instead because that lighting is better to me. But I'm like, I feel like I've got mood lighting right now. And I'm also a little bit um, snotty still from recovering from a little congestion thing that I had going on. So anyway, I'm just going to call it like my sexy, snotty voice and mood lighting. And we're going to go with that. So, anyway, so let's talk about a couple things that diets aren't teaching you to help you keep the weight off or to help you maintain the body recomposition that you are striving for. Okay. First thing is they're not talking about metabolic adaptation and maintenance. This is freaking huge. This is why in our program, the first phase of our program is called Boost, and we are starting most clients here, whether they have weight to lose or not. Everyone's starting, we're tailoring it to each client, but it's going to be some variation within this and customized to that person. But we need to make sure their metabolism is actually in a good place. And a lot of the people, I will say, a lot of the women we've worked with have chronically undereaten or chronically dieted for a long time or even a shorter period of time. But their metabolism needs some love because your metabolism will adapt up or it will adapt down, and your body adjusts to calorie changes up or down. So that's why if you are someone who has reverse dieted before, or maybe you're even looking into reverse dieting, you can see where someone's increasing their calories up over time and their body, they're not even gaining weight. If we're doing it correctly and slowly and methodically, their body's just adjusting to the increase in calories. You're like, how is that possible? You're like, every time I ate over 1,500 calories before, like I would put on weight, but we're doing it in a methodical way where it's like, oh, my body's actually just adapting to the increase and we're good. And you're finding that, you're reconfiguring that new set point. Same thing applies if you're someone who is chronically dieting or really being restrictive with your calories. Your body will adapt down. Have you heard of a plateau before? Ding, 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 ding. That's probably why you have been dieting for too long and you're now plateaued down at 1,200 calories. And that freaking sucks. Like, I don't know about you, but I love food and I, there goes my sickness. Oh gosh, can't make myself laugh. Um, I love food and I'm like the person who right now my maintenance calories are up like somewhere around 2,800 calories, give or take, again, activity, all of that. And I am the person who, in a deficit, I don't want to be eating less than like 2,200 calories personally, because, that right there is like a 500 calorie deficit for me, give or take. So I'm like, that alone for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I was down to 1,200 calories, first of all, I would feel like I would just wither away and like shrivel up into a raisin because I would be so malnourished, like so many women are, moody AF and low energy, low libido, poor sleep. Like I would feel like crap. And as many women do, eating 1,200 calories. But also, how frustrating if I was eating 1,200 calories and plateaued. And y'all, this is how so many women I talk to, this is exactly where they are, is eating 1,200 calories, plateaued, not seeing any progress. And, they have two options. They can either eat less or they can eat more, and their body's going to adapt and adjust. So, this is where like reverse dieting comes in, all of those things. But there's also so much importance to a maintenance phase in resetting your metabolism. Like you cannot diet forever and you have to spend more time at your maintenance calories than not. So your maintenance calories being how much you should eat to maintain or be able to eat to maintain your weight. So if you're the person that was eating 1,200 calories, we figure out and we do the formula to figure out, okay, what's your true maintenance range based off your height, weight, age, gender, activity level, all that good stuff. Also looking at some things like the season of life you're in, your hormones, perimenopause or menopause, all that good stuff. But we find, let's say your maintenance range is like 21 and 2,200 calories. That's what you should be able to eat to maintain. And you're only eating 1,200 calories. Well, homegirl, that's the problem right there. So there's so much importance to getting back to a maintenance phase and not dieting forever. This is something I really harp on with anyone I talk to, but also my clients. We need to spend more time at maintenance than dieting. This applies whether you are currently trying to lose weight or body fat. This applies whether you're in a program or not. And I know it's kind of like counterculture to not to like, especially when you join a program, to not always be dieting, aka not always in a fat loss phase or a cut, right? Or a calorie deficit. It's really weird to be like intentionally eating at maintenance when you're trying to lose body fat or change your body composition, right? Very counterintuitive, but it is so important. And this is the prime time to put on more muscle, which we'll talk about here shortly. But there's so much value, importance in staying at maintenance for to minimize metabolic adaptation against you. You do not want your metabolism to downregulate. And we have to help it out by eating at maintenance more often. Okay. So that's the first thing that most diets are not teaching you, and why 80 to 95% of people are gaining the weight back, which is just a very, very sad statistic. And then next up, we have the actual like fat loss phase. Okay. So let's say you have been at maintenance, or we have your metabolism in a good place. Phase 2 of our program, that's our burn phase. And we're going to put clients in and out of a burn phase and a boost phase typically, and kind of go back and forth. Because if we hold them in a burn phase or a calorie deficit too long, then their body is going to adapt and downregulate again. We're going to be stuck again. So we want to avoid that plateau. But what we really want to focus on in a fat loss phase or in a cut is nourishment over restriction. So this is where most diets go to the restrictive mode. They go, okay, let's cut out entire food groups. Let's cut out carbs. Let's go super low calorie. Like, every woman should eat 1,200 calories. That's like something even doctors share. It's like, yeah, if you want to lose weight, go ahead and eat 1,200 calories. That is absurd. If there is a 300-pound woman who is 6 foot, whatever, trying to lose weight, and then there is a 5'2", 130-pound woman trying to lose weight, they are drastically different people. And why would they both eat 1,200 calories? That makes no sense. Their caloric needs are totally different just based off their bodies, not to mention their lifestyle, energy expenditure, hormones, perimenopause, menopause, premenopause, postpartum. Like, where are they in life? Like, they're just totally different people. So that's where most diets go wrong, is kind of blanket statements. And also it's extreme calorie deficits that sabotage long-term results. So instead of doing an extreme deficit just because, well, I guess that's what women are supposed to eat when they diet, instead aim for like a 300 to 500 calorie deficit. That should be the goal. And if your metabolism is in a healthy place, then let's say you're up to 500 calories, a 500 calorie deficit a day, then you're going to be losing like about a pound a week. So 3,500 calories, that's a pound of weight loss. 500 calories times 7 days, that's 3,500 calories. It's about a pound of weight loss per week. And that's very realistic and sustainable. So I usually say somewhere between, depending on how much weight you have to lose, somewhere between a half a pound and a pound and a half of weight loss per week is very sustainable. That depends on how aggressive are you being with the deficit. Like, naturally, if you're only doing a 300 calorie deficit, it's going to be a little bit slower, but that's okay. You're going to probably feel really great, have a lot of energy, be maintaining as much muscle as possible. It's okay to do a less aggressive deficit. Also, how much weight do you have to lose? Because if you have 100 pounds to lose, you might even lose, 4 pounds a week starting out, but then that's going to slow down drastically pretty quickly once you get some of that initial weight off. The closer you get to your goal body weight, then, again, let's say about a half a pound to a pound and a half a week, very realistic. Let's call it a pound per week. And that would be still, fueling your body properly. So instead of extreme calorie deficits, look for those, moderate deficits, 300 to 500 calories, something like that, that aren't going to sabotage your long-term results. And then also there's a super, super big importance and role of having consistent nutrient dense eating in adjusting your set point. So a couple of things to, simplify this or kind of talk about it. We've talked about this in prior episodes, but whole foods versus processed foods require more energy to burn. So, simply by eating more whole foods, you're going to burn more and have more energy expenditure to burn those foods than you are by eating the processed versions of those foods. So, like a simple way to look at it is even just think carbs. So, most of us know simple or complex carbs. Your body requires more energy to digest those complex carbs than the simple carbs and the simple sugars. So, really prioritize whole foods. I know this is also where like you have diets like Optavia or things like that where it's like here eat this processed bar. Here, it's like or Weight Watchers or keto or whatever where it's like as long as it says keto on the front on the label, you're good. Like it could be the most processed thing ever. Like doused in bacon grease, whatever, it's fine, but it says keto on it. But really what we want to do is try to prioritize whole foods because that's actually going to help as well. And another example too is protein. So talking about the thermic effect of food and how your body burns some energy just to digest it. Eating enough protein is going to actually help you burn more energy, aka burn more calories, simply to digest the protein than it does for fats or carbs. So protein is the macronutrient. We need all three macronutrients, but it is the one that most women are under eating. So simply by prioritizing protein, you're helping yourself out as far as burning a little bit more just to digest it, and then also helping out your metabolism with building more lean muscle and things like that. So really prioritize those nutrient dense whole foods and then avoid the yo-yo dieting. So all of this is again within that fat loss phase. What you should be prioritizing and why most diets are failing you is because it's not doing these things. It's doing too extreme of a deficit. It's not prioritizing nutrient dense whole foods. It's like eat what you want as long as it's within your calorie range, and that's not helping you. And then it's also you're oftentimes having this yo-yo dieting thing happening, which is creating like an unsustainable plan. You really want to focus on creating that sustainable, balanced nutrition plan because how you diet really matters. And it'll largely determine if you can keep the weight off. So if you're doing something extreme or restrictive to get the weight off and you think like, it's fine, I'll just get the weight off and then I'll go back to doing something a little bit more realistic once I get this weight off. I just want to get it off first. And then I'll still have healthy habits after, but I just want to get it off first. I hear that often where, someone's like going to do kind of that quick fix fad thing. And they're like, yes, I do still plan on like changing my habits after. And like, and then just going back to, 80 to 90% whole foods and, this and that. And I'm like, but what you did to get the weight off probably sabotaged your metabolism more than you would like. So really avoid the yo-yo dieting thing because that's how it happens even when you're not aware. It's because like, oh, let's do something to just make this happen quickly. And then it comes back. It yo-yos pretty quick too, oftentimes. Or you might be the slow creeper that your weight just slowly creeps back on over time. And you're like, I'm doing everything healthy and right. But again, what you did to get there wasn't sustainable. And now it's creeping back on after because your metabolism and your set point hasn't been trained correctly. Okay. And the last thing that we're going to talk about, and this is kind of a part of our third phase of our program, and what most diets do not teach, this is probably the biggest part, is balance and maintenance. So, what do you do after the diet is over? This is why weight loss without addressing the set point leads to regain. This is like it in a nutshell. So, I like if you're taking notes, highlight this part because this is what literally most diets aren't teaching and why 95% of people are failing because they're not teaching you how to address your set point and how to retrain that. One really big thing they're not looking at is putting on and maintaining muscle. Muscle, you guys, is like the magic word. Okay. It is the key to helping your set point and helping maintain your results. And we're talking strength training and progressive overload. And Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, She actually talks a great deal about the importance of muscle and how we're focused on the wrong thing, i.e., we're all focused on weight loss or fat loss. And when I say all, I'm lumping us all into that bucket, even though I personally don't focus. I really focus a lot on muscle. Most of my clients are focusing that way and leaning that way now. Even a lot of you listening are really do recognize the importance of muscle. But I think there's still that little like that little voice in the back of our head that just is like, well, it's still for like weight loss or fat loss. Like it's the body fat, the body fat, the body fat. We need to spend more time focused on putting on muscle to improve our metabolism and our set point than we are thinking about weight loss or fat loss. Like muscle is truly the key. For example, right now, today, I can eat much more food now to maintain my weight than I could in my 20s because I have significantly more muscle and lean mass, which is calorically expensive, meaning it burns more. Like my body burns more just because I have more muscle. I have significantly more muscle than I did in my 20s or in my teens. And so I can actually eat more and maintain than I could before. And actually, we did a podcast interview or episode with Cam Brown. This was probably around like the 20s or 30s episode number. I don't remember now. But Cam talked about her story and she was sharing how she was like, yeah, Megan and I sitting here because she was like, Megan has more muscle than me right now. She's crushing me in the calorie burning category. We're both sitting down, but our bodies are burning different amounts because of more muscle versus not. You could have two 150-pound people. One has more muscle, one has significantly less muscle. The person with more muscle, guess what they're burning more of? They're burning more calories, AKA, it's going to help them maintain their fat loss that they achieved, right? So if you're constantly focused on fat loss, then you're really missing a huge piece of the puzzle and you are sabotaging your progress, my friend. Like I just like, it breaks my heart to see so many people just obsessed with the scale or obsessed with fat loss because I'm like, you are sabotaging it. Or even let's be real, like, and this is also talking to some of my clients. It's like just like rushing the maintenance phase or the muscle building phase so we can get to the fat loss phase. It's like let's really prioritize muscle. It is going to serve you so well. And like how long have you been trying to diet and lose fat your freaking whole life? Okay, let's spend a little time. Let's spend the next year, like at least the next 6 months. But like if you spend just even the next year of like, let me get stronger, let me put on more muscle, it will change your life. And, not focusing on that is really sabotaging your body, recomposition goals or your progress. And also, the next piece along with this, along with maintaining your results after a diet or after a fat loss phase, that most diets aren't teaching is the critical role of reverse dieting and transitioning out of the deficit. So we have muscle. That's a huge thing. Most diets are not talking about. Also, they're not telling you that by doing this super restrictive diet, you're probably losing a lot of muscle mass. And then when you go and regain the weight later, you're not going to regain that muscle mass. You're going to replace that lost muscle with more body fat, further slowing your metabolism and further making the next time you diet that much harder because you have less muscle. So anyway, but the next piece is they're not teaching you that you need to reverse diet and transition out of a deficit. You don't stop the diet cold turkey. This is oftentimes where people go, yay, I lost the weight now and I can resume normal life and quit the diet. Like, yeah, sure, maybe I'm going to try to eat healthier, but like, let me just quit the diet and I lost the weight. Like props to me, pat on the back. That's awesome. They might maintain it. I mean, I talk with a lot of women who have done Optavia. They've done, Weight Watchers, whatever, you name it. And they're like, I lost weight and I actually maintained it for like 3 years. And then now it's kind of just slowly coming back. And I'm like, yeah, it's because we need to give your metabolism love. We need to put on more muscle and we need to work on your body's set point and also teach you how to transition out of a diet and maintain, right? And, that's why like most people, when they're quitting the diet, they're going to regain the weight, even if they weren't doing a crazy diet. But let's just say they were doing a calorie deficit or even working with a coach. you still have work to do to make sure you can maintain that weight loss and body composition. This is where the work isn't done yet just because you lost the weight. We still have more to go. And if you skip that final step of reverse dieting and rebalancing your body and your hormones and metabolism, you will probably slowly regress and lose your results. So, this is where we also work with some competitors. And I'm always like, hey, getting to a certain stage ready, like results, is one thing. It's actually the aftermath that's even more important. It's the reverse diet, it's coming off the stage, it's coming out of that where your body is going to rebound hardcore, especially if you got super, super lean and cut. Your body is going to rebound like crazy if you don't do this in a methodical, like, appropriate approach and reverse diet yourself out of this. So, with that being said, that's a huge thing diets aren't teaching. It's massive. And then lastly, too, again, the focus is typically on weight loss, right? Most diets, that's how they're gauging progress, gauging success, and it's just easy to do. Like, it's probably the easiest number to track, right? Everyone can get a scale at home and look at that, and it's just diet culture. It's what we've been taught. Like, honestly, taking progress pictures is just as easy, or measuring your waist is just as easy. And it can be if you just have a measuring tape sitting on your bedside table at home, or, prop your phone up in a window and take those pictures. Like, it's pretty easy, but we've been trained that the scale is that most important number. So, another thing that most diets aren't teaching you is to focus on body composition changes versus just weight loss, because it does not matter if you lose weight if half of that is muscle, or 75% of that is muscle. Like, your metabolism is going to be worse off for that versus like minimizing the muscle loss, maximizing the fat loss. Now, that is ideal body recomposition, right? So, you want to track metrics beyond the scale, AKA think your body composition. So, if you have access to like a fat body fat scan and a muscle scan, like an InBody at your gym, that's okay. It works as kind of a baseline, even though it can be off. Definitely better than a smart scale. The smart scales at home aren't smart. Hate to break it to you. I have one myself, and every time my weight goes up, my body fat goes up. Every time weight goes down, body fat goes down. And I just know that's not accurate. That's not always true. Um, but in InBody, oftentimes gyms have an InBody scan, or like the DEXA is the gold standard of body scans, depending on where you live. They are more expensive or cheaper to go get a DEXA scan. If you're a metrics number person and you want to check your lean mass versus body fat, that can be helpful. But that's just one thing. So, your body composition, your energy levels. So, tracking metrics like your energy levels, your sleep quality, your strength, like seriously tracking, like, am I actually getting stronger in my lifts? Am I hitting new PRs? Things like that. Those are huge. And then also to be able to, it'll help you recognize when adjustments are needed to continue progress. So, this is something I see too, and what most diets aren't teaching you is that if you're not seeing weight loss, you're not seeing success. And again, that's not true. That's not always true. Like, I have seen clients, I have a client in a reverse right now who she has lost several inches at her waist while we're increasing calories, and the scale has really maintained or stayed about the same. That's body recomposition, my friends. Like, you don't just lose inches and fit into smaller clothes because your weight is staying the same and nothing else is happening, right? But if she was just tracking the scale progress, she would be like, I suck. I'm not a success, right? That's not accurate. So, like, tracking other metrics and forms of progress is going to help you to be able to recognize when you need to make adjustments for continued progress. And then the last thing too is be patient and give your body time to adapt to changes. So, especially as women, I've mentioned this in other episodes, you need to give your body more than a week, more than 2 weeks. Like, I always say, like, at least 3 to 4 weeks of true consistency and compliance to be like, okay, now I'm seeing trends in the right direction, especially with our cycles. If you are still a menstruating woman, and then even with the hormone, the crazy hormone changes with perimenopause, right? Your body's going to fluctuate. how much water retention you have, where your hormones are at, all that. So, like, be patient and give your body time to adapt to the changes before assuming this isn't working, right? And that's again another thing diets aren't teaching us. And one last example I want to give you guys too is a client who graduated our program. She was with us for, let's see, I think 9 months or 10 months. She was a trainer herself in the gym community for however many years. Like she's was no newbie to training or healthy eating, macros, fitness. But she was like, I was stuck in the 15 to 1800 calorie range, not able to make it to that next level that I wanted to get to. And now she is eating 2700 calories, leaner, more shredded, stronger, hitting more pull ups. Like she is crushing it. And she's like, it's all because I found those missing pieces by working with Megan and the team. And now those pieces are in place. Those last couple of things, my metabolism is in the best place it's ever been. She's in her 40s. And she was like, now that those pieces are in place, like I'm eating more than I ever have, and I'm leaner and more shredded than I have ever been. So I know it's really crazy when you come from diet culture to trust the process with stuff like this. It seems like mind blowingly counterintuitive, but it works, you guys. Like it works. Like it's so good. It's so good once you taste it and you know how good it is. Like anyone who has tasted it listening right now is like, yes, I know, I know. And if my client who I'm talking about is listening to this, you'll probably know exactly who you are because it's that good. It's just so good. So, anyway, guys, if you want sustainable results so you don't regain the weight, then you have to train your body and your set point for sustainable results. That's it. That's done through nutrition, it's done through training, lifestyle, and long term habits. And if you struggle with regaining the weight or feel like every time you eat over X amount, like let's say every time you eat over 1500 calories or every time you eat over 1200 calories, you're gaining unwanted weight, then you should probably go back and listen to, I think it's episodes 54, 55, and 56, where we talk about the phases of sustainable body recomposition. And I break down these phases, each one in a series. So 54 is phase one, 55 is phase two, 56 is phase three. And I break those down for you. But that's it for today, you guys, for this episode. If you have questions, shoot me a message on social media, and I am happy to help and talk this through with you. And if you're interested in one on one coaching, so we can figure all this out with you and for you, then you can apply for one on one coaching. My social media handles and the link for coaching are in the show notes. So make it an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next episode.